After our summer in Alaska, we made our way back into Canada on the top of the World Highway, and since being back in Canada, we've driven the Dempster Highway up to the Arctic Ocean, and we explored the history-filled town of Dawson City, and now it's time for us to continue our journey south as we make our way back to the lower 48. Over the next few days, we're going to be driving the other half of the Alaska Highway we did not drive while going north towards Alaska. We drove the second half of the Alaska Highway from Watson Lake to Delta Junction, Alaska, after driving the beautiful Cassiar Highway. But now it's time for us to make the drive the other way south. We're going to be starting our adventure in Whitehorse and going down to Dawson Creek, British Columbia. The entire highway goes from Dawson Creek in British Columbia all the way to Delta Junction, Alaska, and it's 1,387 miles. And so while we've driven half, we have to drive the other half so we can say that we've driven both the Cassiar Highway and the Alaska Highway. We're so excited for these next few days of adventure, but we know they're going to be long.
Well, we might be starting in Whitehorse. We actually aren't exploring much because we have already been here before and we're just using it as our starting off point for this journey. But we're headed 45 minutes south now and we're taking a little detour, but we think it's going to be totally worth it. The detour that we took was to come to Carcross Desert. This desert is actually the world's smallest desert at only 1 square mile. And it's so crazy to think that the world's smallest desert is here in Canada, surrounded by these mountains. It honestly just doesn't feel like a desert. It kind of feels like a beach amongst the mountains. It's really interesting. But we knew when we were coming in this direction that we were going to stop here because we had to see it for ourselves. The fact that you can just be walking around the desert and then have pine trees right next to you is honestly kind of mind-blowing because it's just scenery and landscape that I've never seen before, and it's just really interesting to see all in one place.
This has to be the finest sand we have ever experienced. Years ago, there used to be glaciers here, and once they melted, there were glacial lakes. And this is the silt that's usually on the bottom that makes those glacier lakes like super blue. But they have since dried up and left behind the Carcross Desert. This sand is so fine, and it's honestly pretty mind-blowing being from Florida and knowing what beach sand is like, and then comparing it to this, completely different experience.
Desert vibes. In Canada, all dressed flavor is a very popular thing for chips and different things like that. And we love rice cakes, and we found rice cakes that are all dressed flavor. And oh my goodness, these are so good. Mwah. From the Carcross Desert to where we're staying for the night, there isn't really much to do. We are 4.5 hours away, so we're not making any stops, but we are hoping to see some wildlife along the way. When we were driving this road on the way to Alaska, it was already so stunning, but now that the fall colors are peeking through, it's even more beautiful and it almost feels like we're driving on a different road.
On our way north to Alaska, we were able to drive to around 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and the sun would still be out and you were able to see everything. And now, making our way south, it is 8:30 p.m. and it is getting so dark. Luckily, we're only about an hour away from our destination for the night, but it's just so crazy what a few months does when it comes to the sun setting and not setting. We made it to our spot near the signpost forest in Watson Lake, and last time we were here, it was the same exact time. We thought we gave ourselves enough time to explore tonight, but clearly it is so dark out, and we're also so tired from driving today, so we're gonna explore more in the morning. morning we're exploring the Signpost Forest, and we did explore here on our way north towards Alaska. It's located in Watson Lake in the Yukon Territory and is a huge landmark along the Alaska Highway, whether you're heading north or heading south. And basically what this place is acres and acres and acres of signs, from dinner plate signs to population signs to city signs, and it's just crazy how many different things there are here.
Today we're going to be driving into BC, which is where all the wildfires are, and it's just crazy that all the smoke and ash has made its way all the way up into the Yukon. And as we drive into BC, I think we're going to be seeing more and more of the smoke and ash, but we're hoping that it dies down because wildfires are so unpredictable and super scary. Just some bison right on the side of the road. So cool. We are literally getting surrounded by bison. We're making a stop at Whirlpool Canyon, which we're walking to right now, but check out these trees. They are so colorful and beautiful. As we've been driving, they have been more and more stunning to look at. We love fall, so we love to see it. And then all of that wildlife that we've been seeing is crazy. We had no idea we were gonna see so much. We saw the warning signs about the bison and we were like, okay, cool, we might see one or two. Well, we figured we'd see more than one or two if we saw them because they're usually together in a pack. But we saw at least 30, 40, maybe even 50. We saw so many. We saw a wolf and then also 2 bears, which is so cool to see. But unfortunately, it is getting more and more smoky, so that's not too fun.
Just off the highway on the Liard River is Whirlpool Canyon, and it's a great place to come check out the river in its blue color as it rushes against the rugged rocks. And I'm just loving the turquoise water with the yellow leaves and the green leaves. It's so beautiful. Another popular stop on the Alaska Highway is Liard Hot Springs. It is Canada's largest hot spring, and you have to go on a boardwalk to get to the hot spring. And we weren't expecting to see a moose right away. We were told you could see moose and you could see wildlife while walking the boardwalk. And we were like, we saw so much today already, we probably won't see much. And right when we hit the boardwalk, there was a moose. To go to the hot springs is $5 per day per person, but you can also camp here and get free access as well.
And when you pull into the campground, there's an electric fence around the campground to keep the wildlife out. But when you're walking to the hot spring, that fence no longer exists. You go right through it and now you are unprotected. So when we first saw that moose, my heart was beating for a second, and then I realized it was okay, the moose really didn't want anything to do with us, and now we're walking this beautiful walk to get to the hot spring.
Upon coming here, you would think that the hot springs were brand new because the pools look super well maintained as well as the facility in general. But actually in 1942, during the building of the Alaska Highway, the American Army built the first boardwalk here and the pools too.
We've been exploring the hot springs for a little bit, and one, it started raining, but it's not too bad since we're in the warm water. But two, the ecosystem here is so unique and so different because there are mushrooms around on the logs, and there's also fish in the hot spring. I've never seen that before. I don't think that's a normal thing, and if it is, we've definitely never seen that before. So it's really cool and unique, and it is a little bit busy, but since this is such a large hot spring, the largest in Canada, you don't really feel too crammed at all, which is super nice. As you can tell, it is super dark and a lot later than we expected to be here, but we were enjoying the hot springs, and then we got to talking with some people, and then unfortunately Grayson lost his wedding ring, so we've been trying to find that. We even came into our camper and got some goggles, and we're looking under the water, but unfortunately with how large of a hot spring it is and how many people were there, we think it just got shuffled up somehow in the pebbles that were underneath the water. So definitely unfortunate, but things like this happen. What are you going to do about it? So since it is kind of late and we're on the Alaska Highway and with the wildlife and everything, we're not going to drive too far, but we're going to drive a little bit up the road and find camp for the night.
Last night we only drove around 40 minutes because it was so dark you couldn't even see like 50 feet in front of you. So with the amount of wildlife we saw yesterday, we just thought it was smart to get off the road as soon as possible. So we pulled into this lot and we saw these yellow bushes, and we weren't sure what the views were going to be like because you couldn't see much. And this morning the views are not disappointing, and despite this being right off the road, the Alaska Highway was not loud at all either, so that's nice.
This drive today has been so beautiful. I just can't get over how scenic the Alaska Highway is. It's so beautiful, and all the wildlife we saw yesterday was amazing. And then today we saw sheep and a bear so far, and I feel like that's probably just the start. I just can't stop looking out the window. We had to make a stop at Tetsa River Lodge. We have heard they have the absolute best cinnamon rolls ever, and if you know us, you know that we love sweets and we love cinnamon rolls, so we're gonna try them out and see what we think. Super excited. It smells so good. Upon arriving, we weren't sure what to expect, but this lodge is so cute, and we got so lucky by getting the last cinnamon roll. I guess they make another batch in about 45 minutes, so depending how good it is, we might wait because we were planning on getting a couple, but we're gonna try it first. It smells delicious, it's fairly large, and yeah, I can't wait any longer. The bread in this cinnamon roll is so good. It's so light and airy and has just a great texture to it. And then the cinnamon butter glaze, oh my goodness, it's so good. It's sweet but not overly sweet, so it's honestly like the perfect cinnamon roll. As you can tell, that cinnamon roll was delicious. It was literally gone in probably 2 minutes, so we're gonna wait around the 45 minutes to get some more because I don't think we can leave here with just splitting one. It was too good for that.
It's 7:30 p.m. and the sun goes down in 20 minutes, which is so crazy because it almost feels like it was an extra hour yesterday. So we're just gonna drive a little bit further, but the road conditions thus far have been so good. We've been seeing all the wildlife, which is so exciting. And it's crazy to think that there are so many different landscapes, like all the way back there are these crazy mountains with yellows and greens and crazy colors. And then a little while ago, we were driving through what kind of felt like farms and plains, kind of completely opposite. And now we're just driving through a lot of trees, and it's kind of shocking us that this road is in a lot better condition than we thought because we heard it was terrible, but so far it's been great. And another thing I noticed is you can drive for 40 minutes and not see anybody, and then the next 40 minutes be like lined up with 10 people driving all at the same time. It's getting kind of dark, so we pulled off at this viewpoint where you have these mountains in the background, and during blue hour like it is right now, it's absolutely gorgeous.
Good morning from the beautiful pullout that we stayed at. We are blessed with a beautiful blue sky, sunny day to end our Alaska Highway journey. We have 3 hours to Dawson Creek where the Alaska Highway starts, or in our case where the Alaska Highway ends.
Nothing like a coffee for a road trip. We had our coffees, brought them to the front. Woman said that they were free. Great day to be alive.
We're currently driving through Fort St. John, which is the biggest city we've seen on the Alaska Highway, and we're only an hour away from Dawson Creek now. Today we haven't seen too much wildlife or anything too interesting, but we still have some time, so who knows what we might come across.
We made it to Dawson Creek, and there's one thing we have to do, just like when you go to the Arctic Ocean and you have to hop into the Arctic Ocean. When you come to Dawson Creek and you drive the Alaska Highway, you have to visit the Alaska Highway sign. This sign is at the beginning of the Alaska Highway for some and at the end of the Alaska Highway for us. And this is something we knew we were gonna hit when we came here, and we're so excited to be here. One thing to note is the temperature difference. Where we started this morning, it was 38 degrees, and here it is 70, and it is so hot. Definitely don't need the beanie or the sweater.
Well, our Alaska Highway adventure has sadly come to an end. We still have so much to explore in Canada, and we're so excited about it. So if you did enjoy this video, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and we'll see you in the next one.